everybody, and welcome to RPG Horror Stories, where guess what? OP is forced to lay with a dragon by the DM because of their class. Roll post. The DM forces me to have my way with the dragon due to my class. So I've been playing as a Wood Elf Bard, level 10 in my D&D 5th edition game, with the Dwarven Barbarian, the Goliath Fighter, and the Human Wizard. Recently, we discovered an adult red dragon. The party started joking about me seducing the dragon, which I found funny at first, but they wouldn't let it go. Eventually, the dungeon master got involved and started pressuring me to seduce it. And was no longer for me, because I did not want my character to do something like this. But eventually, the DM literally just says I do it without asking me. Then says I now have dragon herpes and died and have to make a new character. Even though I never agreed to this. Probably going to leave the group. Edit. Definitely going to leave the group. This is definitely taking a joke way too far. And it's also a common thing I see where it's effectively like if a DM doesn't like somebody or if they're taking something too far, they'll just go rocks fall, you die. This is literally that. Rocks fall, you died. So, usually, if that's happened and there's nothing extenuating, Henderson, leave the group. Now, next story. You're not supposed to portray women that way! The male character says to the female character. In early 2021, I had joined a Warhammer fantasy game module called Enemy Within. Enemy Within is a very long, very difficult campaign, and I was excited to finally find a dedicated group who would want to run it on Sunday nights because at the time, that's the only time I could do. I had decided to play a Bretonnian thief, and then later promote into spy, named Nanette. Nanette had taken a lot of inspiration from Safana from Baldur's Gate, but of course to a low degree that is tolerable, such as instead of being overtly sensuous, she would be confident in her beauty, value treasure, and maintain her appearance. Personally, Safana is my favorite character because of her confidence and has been inspiring to me for the last 10 years. Instead of being sexual, or sensual, or whatever you want to say, I'm going to say sensual here because it's what's written, I would have Nanette admire her own beauty and care about her appearance, as well as regale us with tall tales of exploits and lovers. The party. Nanette, me, vain Bretonnian jewel thief. Masha, male player offended by feminine expression, played a female Kislevian knight who believes that women should be tomboys and tabletops. Jory, the game master who was weirded out by Masha's picking on me. Fabian, Italian scout, also a subject of Masha's ire. Before I had joined, I had scrolled up and seen that Masha had said that he didn't want me to join as he felt two women in the party would be awkward. He felt that it would ruin the aesthetic. What aesthetic? Women aren't for aesthetic purposes, I said. Or at least it's what I wanted to say, but instead, I created my character. Everything was fine, and I generally avoided Masha until session 2, when we had formally met Fabian. Fabian had asked, thankfully, to kiss my hand, jokingly admiring the beauty my character constantly speaks of. We all laugh. And at the table before, Masha rudely interjects, says, "Why are you whoring yourself out to this stranger? We have work to do." Before I even had a chance to say yes or no to the offer. Everyone just kind of went silent, or I just ignored him until Fabian too. No. After the session, the Game Master had pulled Masha aside, scolding him before next week against my wishes. Apparently, Jory has a zero-tolerance policy for in-game and out-of-character sexism towards another player, which I did not know about. Masha had seemingly changed and had since apologized until we had reached Altdorf. After fighting a bright wizard, Nanette's wit lair had become slightly charred by Jory's description, even jokingly, and had decided to use her own money to purchase a hairbrush and then take a hot bath. After I told my party our intent in our downtime in Altdorf, Masha has an absolute meltdown. Why are you portraying women like that? No girl is like that. Girls are usually die in Warhammer or are raped to death. To which, massaging my temples, I respond, how are you going to tell me how to portray a woman as a man? The game master then muted Masha, and then kicked him from the game in Discord, apologizing profusely before he ends the session there for the week. Masha, not done with the drama, joined the Discord on an alt along with 2 others, and decided to spam me, calling me whore, fat, and ugly. I found it mildly amusing, posting screenshots I had taken of Masha's previous rantings about how he wants to be the only woman before he is kicked. I will never understand how a man can tell a woman how she should act, should behave in a roleplay setting, and what their core principles should be. Masha, if you are reading this, just know that not every girl wants to swing a sword, drink beer, act snarky, or roleplay being a lesbian with you. As for the game, we are still going strong. I was the one who suggested we post this, just so I can vent this out of my system. Now, whenever we meet a female NPC, there's always a slight bit of laughter because we know it would make Masha furious. Too long, didn't read. Male player hates confident female player who doesn't buy into tomboy values in Warhammer. Says my character would be raped to death and then goes berserk. And they're kicked. That's fucking gross! Masha sounds like they're like fucking Christian or some shit. Like, oh my god. I bet you that if we tried, we could get some sagas out of Masha. It would be fucking hilarious. I mean, I wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying, it's a thing. You could probably get some sagas out of Masha. Next story. Player cheats and rage quits! A short one. To give myself a break, I had bought a Wizards of the Coast adventure. Won't say which one to avoid spoiling it, and was running that for a group of people recruited off of r/looking for group. We were a few sessions into the game, and the players and myself had gotten into a comfortable rhythm. Due to life stuff, I woke up late and a bit tired on game day, and didn't get to do my pre-game rituals. Going for a walk, having a shower, rereading the part of the adventure I was about to run. But instead of delaying, I decided to plow on ahead with the game, relying on my first read-through of the adventure a few weeks previously. At some point, the players got to a cavern filled with mushrooms, where they could see a corpse clutching onto a shining weapon underneath this carpet of mushrooms. I skim-read the area description and figured out that these mushrooms were dangerous if interfered with, as they released a cloud of toxic spores. But that weapon was a lovely +1 sword. A classic risk and reward situation. As soon as I was finished describing the situation, one player decided to splash some oil around and set the mushroom carpet alight. I decided that this is a dangerous course of action, and if it goes wrong, he could take some damage. I figured that if touching the mushrooms got them to release the spore, burning them would probably have made them release a lot of spores. I asked for some skill checks, failed, and then a constitution saving throw. Succeeded, and then described him breathing in a mouthful of toxic spores and asked him to roll a d6 of damage. Then he responded with, Can't you just read the module? He then abruptly disconnected from the Discord voice chat. Since he didn't sound particularly angry, I initially assumed that he'd had computer troubles and that he'd disconnected mid-sentence. As I was waiting to see if he'd returned, another player asked if he'd been kicked from the server. I looked around and realized he'd left the server and the Roll20 game. It took me a couple minutes to figure out what had happened. In the adventure text, it actually said, "The mushrooms die harmlessly if exposed to fire or sunlight." But I had missed that part when reading the text in the middle of the session. There was no way he could have known this unless he'd had the adventure open in front of him, so he was obviously cheating. And when this cheating hadn't worked as planned, he immediately rage quit. I felt a bit silly for having missed a piece of useful adventure text, but since it outed a cheater, it worked out alright in the end. This is one of the big things that a lot of people don't realize when you're running as a dungeon master. There's a lot of chore work involved, a lot of upkeep for even just, official module campaigns. Because you have to, before you read it, I personally recommend at least reading through half of the book first, so you know what you're going up against. Before I ever ran Curse of Strahd, I would always read through the entire adventure, and I'd pull the tarot cards during that reading and write down what that means, so that I would have it ready for my DM notes in the campaign. That said, no DM is perfect, and honestly, the fact that he wasn't able to double-check his own reading and just have everything up and nice and ready up to his own standards actually did out another player as a cheater really early on in the campaign. So this is all well that ends well here. But remember, no dungeon master is the same. None of them play the same. And there are going to be some that read the day of. There are going to be some that spend all week prepping. And whichever one you have, they're going to know if you're cheating. Guaranteed. So, that's all we have for today. Much love, stay sexy, and try not to cheat in Dungeons and Dragons. Jesus! Just play the damn game, have some fun, have some dignity for yourself.